Welcome to Scorched and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of October. I hope you're well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today. Here it is. The energies of the meditation that I did before I started this reading were very intense, and so I think that this is probably going to be quite an intense period for you. I've already got a bit of a pressure in my head starting, so don't worry too much. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, it just means that it's strong. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Pisces. We have the Emperor in your recent past. That's Aries energy. Current energy for Pisces, please. Thank you. We have the Three of Wands in your current energy. And what is coming towards Pisces, please? We have the Three of Swords. Right, don't panic. Particularly in the Llewellyn Tarot, and it's interesting that it's the Llewellyn that I should have used. This takes on somewhat of an aged quality. It feels like a historic Three of Swords. We've got the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck. We're going to get into what this is all about. We'll just let's just give these a little bit of a waft, because I use these for Virgo as well. Clear them up. Right. Let's give them a good shuffle, and let's get some clarifiers. Where's the Emperor here for Pisces, please? Thank you. We have two. We have the Magician and we have the Five of Pentacles. Tell me about the Three of Wands. We have the King of Swords and the Eight of Swords. And tell me about the Three of Swords. Whoa. What do we have here? We have the Seven of Swords. And we have the Four of Cups. Right. From the off, with the Page of Wands, Page of Swords, beg your pardon, at the bottom of the deck here, it feels like it's a heavy thinking month for you. And I don't think this necessarily has to be a bad thing, but I do think that there are going to be a lot of challenging things that come up for you during this month. And that's okay. Every single sign that I've had so far is seeing a period of accelerated growth. And some of it is kind of challenging, but it's all about the way that you approach this that seems to be making the difference. You know, if you see this as, as they call it in the poly opportunity, another fucking opportunity for growth, like, okay, we deal with this and then we move on. I think that you're going to be very much better than if you get sucked down into a more long-lasting period of kind of bleak feelings about things. I'm actually looking at the back of the Night Sun Tarot that I've just picked up there. I mean, you can see it, but like the way that it's all kind of tunneling down into a thing, that seems to me to be the energy that you need to avoid this month. So we start off with the Emperor, and the Emperor is Aries energy, as I said, and it's very much dealing with, well, it could be father-related issues, because it is the archetypal father, but it does also speak of control. You know, the Emperor is a card that indicates an archetype that deals with the control of many, many things, right? It needs to keep the environment in check so that everything's working well for everybody. And this can be a very positive energy, but it can also be kind of negative, particularly if you are on the receiving end of the control. I mean, maybe even realizing that you have been controlling. I feel like that's less likely as I'm saying it, but it's a thing. And we've got the Magician coming out underneath to clarify, which is also a very good card. It's a very powerful card, but also another one that speaks of control. And what we have sitting next to it is this Five of Pentacles. The Magician is in fact looking directly at the Five of Pentacles here, and it feels to me, wow, that's interesting. Literally 10 pigeons just all came out of the tree at the same time. I wonder if my cat's prowling around. Maybe the pigeons have a message for you. Interestingly, my Pisces daughter, one of her favourite animals in the world is pigeons. She really likes them, likes their gentle energy. That's because she's not seen them trying to steal chips off people, I think. Perhaps your fight or flight mode has been engaged, like, where you have realised that there are people who have been controlling you That's what I'm going to say here, because this Five of Pentacles, this drooping flower, it's almost like it's wilting under the gaze of the magician. And to that extent, then perhaps you, Pisces, are wilting under the very intense gaze of these two characters who are very much concerned with control, and to an extent, certainly for the magician, a kind of manipulative energy. Let me see what we've got going on here. What's that? Yeah, we've got the Four of Cups with the Eight of Cups. I mean, I wonder if we've got the Judgment card here. Like, fight or flight is right, but it doesn't feel like fight. It feels like people pleasing. It feels like holding still. Actually, it feels like your control over your own environment is something that you've realized you don't have, and you are at the whim and mercy of those who would control you. Now, this could be a personal relationship. It could be, a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, something like that. It could be even a friendship, maybe family members. It could be the organs of state. I mean, perhaps you have attracted their attention, right? And maybe that's a thing. Even things like energy companies and stuff like that, I could see that being a thing if you are familiar with the situation in the UK, that it's getting totally out of fucking hand. But the important thing here is the theme that is running through it, and that is that something else is controlling you, and you are kind of at the point where you can't take it anymore, right? This Four of Cups feels like a balancing act, trying to please everyone. Oh, we have a second card. Oh, now that's really interesting, because it was actually stuck to the back of that card. And I didn't see it until I just sort of moved my thumb there, and there it is. The Tower is peeking out from behind it. Now, that's quite interesting, because there isn't a sign that I've read for this month that hasn't had the Tower come out in some way or another. Which makes me think that October is going to be quite an interesting month. All told, perhaps in a wider world events kind of way. But certainly here with this Four of Cups, like I said, trying to balance everything out, trying to keep everybody happy, and really putting yourself at a distinct disadvantage in doing so. The fact that the Tower is sitting behind that in a way that was hidden feels like, for some of you, it's verging on desperate. For others of you, you're not letting it get to the point of feeling desperate. It's kind of being pushed down. But there's still this really tight sense of fear in down here. It's kind of like things are starting to clench up, because the possibility, the potential for the Tower is something that seems to be, if not overtly stated, certainly seems to be guiding your movements here. And we've got this Eight of Cups, right? There's a desperate desire to get away from this situation. Now, when we move into your current energy, we've got the Three of Wands, and that is sometimes about changed behaviour, but it is also about travelling. It's about movement. It's about the things that we do in the day-to-day as a response to the big major arcana energies that are happening at us. And you've had a few already, Emperor, Magician and the Tower in a very short period of time. Feels deeply uncomfortable to me. Deeply uncomfortable. So we have the Father of Swords, which is the King of Swords, and the Eight of Swords sitting underneath here. And it feels like where you are right now is in the very present and clear knowledge that you need to make a decision moving forwards. You need to do something to change the situation that you're in, right? Then to that degree, then the Three of Wands is very much about changed behaviour. How can you change your situation by way of what you do to be able to get away from the oppressive influences of this? The problem is with the Eight of Swords, it's a card of mental restriction. It's a card of feeling absolutely stuck and powerless to change anything. It's actually really well observed, I think, in this deck, because we've got, a caterpillar here in a cocoon, and all the swords are sort of surrounding it, like it's hanging off one of them, and it gives you these kind of notions of a sword of Damocles hanging over your head. But they're also beneath you too, and so any movement it seems, is one that is likely to pierce your very delicate wings on the swords that are surrounding it, right? And so you know there's a decision to make. You know that there's something that you need to do. There's a direction of travel. There's at least a notion of wanting to escape. But there's also this I feel, quite legitimate fear that if you were to unfurl your wings at this point, you're going to spear yourself on the swords that are sitting underneath there. Tell me about this. I mean, we've got the Judgment card at the bottom of the deck here, also speaking to the need to make big decisions. We've got the Chariot card coming out in reverse. Tell me about here. And we've got the Justice card coming out in reverse. And the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It feels like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. There really doesn't seem to be that avenue of escape, and more than that, it seems incredibly unjust and unfair that you have been, well, you are being presented with the possibility of being skewered rather than the skewering actually happening here. Yeah, Knight of Cups is underneath there, right? So very much your position, it being a painful one that you are in at the moment. No, I really dislike this. I dislike this very much, Pisces, because this is unjust. It's completely unjust. What about this Eight of Swords, please? Got the Ten of Pentacles. I mean, first something very closely related to your personal security. So that could be your home, that could be your job. It could be relationship status, it could be all sorts of things. Then when the Ten of Pentacles comes up, like often, obviously, there is a material consideration here. So it's about your money and whatnot, and certainly it seems to be taking up lots of time and effort as well. But it can also be talking to your sense of internal security and stability. Like, what do you need to feel functional? What you need to feel like you are safe? And it feels like it is compromised here for you this month in a way that is distinctly unpleasant. Now, when we come into October and what October holds, we have that Three of Swords appearing again. But like I said, this one feels like it's a little more historic. And with this Seven of Swords and Four of Cups appearing underneath it, it does put me in mind of the possibility that you are repeating a pattern right here, Pisces. Not willingly, and perhaps it's wearing different clothes to the last time that you experienced something like this, but it's triggering the same point in you as it did before. Now, this knowledge is a really useful thing because, like I said, everybody seems to be being presented with the possibility of intense growth this month. But in order to grow, we need to know what's going on with us, right? We need to know what's holding us back. And this is, it seems, a point where you are getting an insight into that, because what is happening now and what has been happening is directly related to something that has happened before. And perhaps you are too close to the situation to notice the ways in which they are similar. But it's also speaking to this sense of why your nervous system is up a height this month. I mean, you might be dealing with some generalized anxiety, or I've actually got palpitations as I'm sitting here talking to you. It's like my heart's doing this, which is not pleasant. But noticing what it is that is the same as an old situation feels to me like it's the key from breaking through out of it again. We've got the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck there, speaking to boundaries, but also speaking to resilience and the building of character, right, as all of these experiences do. But we've got the Sun beyond it. This is not a hopeless, terrible situation for you at all. In fact, where it seems most bleak is the point where the redemption lives. That makes sense. You know, we've got the Page of Swords. Fucking hell, look at this. We've got the Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck, which deals with a new way of thinking about a situation, right? It's mental expansion. It's looking at things from different angles. And you know, if you've been looking at things between these two lines here, and suddenly new information comes in, or you join a dot that makes one side come here, suddenly there's a lot more information in here, a lot more that you can work with. And we've got the Son of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups, plus the Six of Cups underneath, which is talking to old patterns, right? Old ways of being. And these don't have to be necessarily from your adult life. They can be from your child life, or if you're really, really lucky, you could be carrying some of this across from previous lives too, right? But the point is, it is noticing these. It is taking in all of this information, which puts you in a very strong position to be able to do something different, right? The very different thing that you are wanting to do is there. It's an option. You just haven't up until this point seen it, because you're not seeing the way that this particular pattern has repeated. Now we've got the Seven of Swords and we've got the Four of Cups here, and I just want to pull another card for this seven so I know which way it's going. Tell me about this Seven of Cups and the Seven of Swords, please. Thank you. We've got the Seven of Wands. And we've got the King of Swords, right? We've got the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck with the Judgment card and the Page of Wands. This is a strong indication that oh fuck, how many times have I said this already for this month's readings? Right, go back to the drawing board, Pisces. Look at what it is that you are missing, because you have missed something. And once you've worked out what that is, you can formulate a plan. The King of Pentacles is about duty and responsibility, but he is about that forward thinking. This is where I want to end up. So these are the steps that I'm going to take to get there, right? Allowing yourself to just spiral down like that, spiral in to this bleak feeling that it would be very tempting to do is not the route for growth for you this month, right? It's talking about taking charge of the situation, but taking charge of it in a very internal way. Now, there's a risk here that it is asking you to take. But this risk is coming from it being something just outside of the norm that you would usually do. I wonder if you are surrounded by some... Not surrounded. This fox is watching me, right? It's got one eye on me here. Let me flip this around so you can see it. Right? Look at that fox. He's got one beady eye. It's looking at you very, very carefully. And like I said, this can mean, on the one hand, it can talk about taking a risk. On the other, it can talk about deception. And then we've got it here with the Four of Cups. Now, as I'm looking at these three cards here together, what this feels like to me is blind spots. You've got blind spots about this situation, and perhaps your fear of being rejected is playing a part in this. Perhaps abandonment issues are playing a part in this, but there's some way out here of the situation that you are in that you have not seen, right? The Seven of Wands is about protecting yourself, and guarded, creating that kind of guard against attack in you. But it's made to be something really beautiful here, and the thing that I'm looking at more than anything else is the fact that these two snakes are kind of looking at each other, right? There's something of a mirrored situation that's going on here, and it's carrying across from something older. And if you can look at yourself rather than the situation, that's where the clarity to make the decision lies. All of this other stuff, this Seven of Swords and this Four of Cups, and even the Three of Wands, well, no, not the Three of Wands, the Three of Swords, just these two cards here speak to a kind of level of deception that is sitting across the top of the issue that you are trying to deal with right here. And by deception, I don't mean necessarily somebody outright lying to you. I mean, the deception is possibly within your subconscious, right? And it's just not letting you see a thing at the moment. And that's because it's related to an old wound, an old hurt, something unpleasant. But these two kings here, very active, right? They are your way out. There's the clarity of thought that you're hoping for. And with the Seven of Wands, it's the way to protect yourself. It's like the way out is through here, Pisces. Certainly through yourself. What do we have? Yeah, 7. That's 3 sevens that you've got there. 7 of Cups, but it's showing up in the reverse. Okay. If you want clarity, you've got to go within. If you want, it's just fucking 9 of Wands is at the bottom of the deck, and the 7 of Pentacles is underneath that here, right? There's a true opportunity for healing something here within you that you did not know existed. But if you've been feeling stuck and trapped and frustrated and possibly even a bit resentful or a bit fearful, there's an opportunity here to swing the power balance back to you. You need to look within and see what's being triggered here and see if it's got any basis in reality. It might do, in which case, you know, this situation might call for you to literally relocate yourself, right? Because maybe before in the past you didn't and you stuck with it. Maybe you're feeling that stuckness now. I can't move because I'm going to spear my wings on these swords. This is very interesting, Pisces. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and I'm going to have a dig around in this in October, because actually there's an incredibly positive and affirming message in here for you. It's not all bleak and dark, and if that's what you've taken away from it, then you need to go back to the beginning and listen again, because this is an opportunity for growth and empowerment for you. Certainly an opportunity to become more self-reliant emotionally than is currently available to you. And look at the triggers as something really positive, because it is, in my opinion. So, like I said, I'm going to go over to Vimeo and we're going to really dig down into this. If you would like to join me over there, if the reading has resonated, the link for that is in the description box. You could alternatively come and join the Patreon if you haven't done that already. That would give you access to all of the other extended videos for no extra cost, and so you could check out your Venus or your Mars or your Moon, whatever you like. If neither of those appeal, then that's absolutely fine. Know that you are not being punished, you are not being skewered, and I think the danger, the uncomfortable feeling that I've got here will only... No, danger is the wrong word. That makes it sound life-threatening. It isn't. It's whatever is triggering your fear at this point, right? Without consistent and methodical movement through it, it feels like it's going to be chewing on your ankles for a while. But here is an opportunity to liberate yourself of it altogether. And that, I feel, needs to be taken. And it might well be that you need to enforce your boundaries a little bit. Maybe that's the thing that's terrifying. But if you imagine this reading like as a graph, which is how it's been shown, it's shown to me, it's like it's plummeted down off a cliff and then it's just going up vertically. Like it's just like the most amazing fucking end of a ski slope. There's real progress that you can make here, Pisces. But it just needs a little bit of effort and willingness to go within and work out what this old Three of Swords is. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.